Welcome back to another episode of the RAG podcast with me, Sean Anderson, the CEO and founder of Hoxo Media. As you know, Fridays, 11 a.m. in February, every week, we've brought to you a special episode dedicated to our Project 500 initiative. This is actually the last installment of this little series, with me, obviously, joined by Tim Roedel, the founder and CEO of Simply Commerce. We have to mention that because Tim was a little bit upset that he didn't write it on his own screen as we got ready for this session. And Chris Redmond, the managing partner and founder of Redmond Search. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Well done, Sean. That was the first time you got my surname pronounced correctly in the whole 4 weeks.
Roedel over Roedel.
Yeah.
Well, the other, I'm also wondering what the Timothy's all about. It's usually, if I'm Christopher, it's either the police or my mum speaking to me. So wow. I'd imagine you've got the same with Timothy.
I've gone formal. I've worn a jumper. Got my full.
Is that a jumper? What is that? That doesn't.
Hey, he's up, Sean. All right, this is my smartest.
Pajamas. Looks like pajamas, mate.
My wife bought me this.
V-neck.
And Redders has gone sports cash by the looks of it.
Yeah. Dressed down Friday.
Just propping up the team again, don't worry. Always consistent. Although the first thing, so we joined the call about 10 minutes earlier. You know, we're waiting for Tim because he was late, but that's another story.
I know what you're going to say now.
First thing Redders said, morning, mate. He goes, "Oh, you look tired." I was like, "Oh, cheers." Yeah, cheers, bud. Like making me feel brilliant.
I did say to you, Sean, I meant that in a caring, affectionate, collegiate way.
That's cool, but the best bit about it is I feel great. So I'm like, I just look like shit. And I was like, lockdown. The hair's grown, you know, the bouffant's come in, lockdown cut, so that might be why. But yeah, Timothy Roedel of Simply Commerce, he, you know, wasn't very happy that on the screen it didn't have his company name, and then realised it was his own job to write that in. So what do you got to say to that, Tim?
Well, with your advice and guidance, I managed to rectify the situation quickly.
We got there in the end. Well, gents, I can't believe we're at the end of Feb. Can you? Like, what the hell? Where has that time gone? It feels like yesterday we had that initial conversation. You know, we wanted to make a real difference to people out there, the children of the UK. Chris did that initial research with Tim, and they said to me, like, you know, 1.4 to 1.8 million students in the UK without laptops. At the time we had no idea when this lockdown would end. You know, there was no indication. We still don't know for definite, but we've got that nice roadmap that came in. So, you know, it was just one of those things. We said, let's go and get on with it. And now, you know, that was about 7-8 weeks ago. We're at the end of February, and I'm really proud to say that we hit the milestone we set ourselves. Like that, we actually said, look, if we really want to get to 40,000, that is the number that if we did it in February, we'd be pleased with ourselves. And we got off to a flyer. Do you remember we did 30 grand in week 1? I think we had about 4 days. I was like, yo, we're gonna make millions here. But then it all did seem to level out, and we've got over that line. So Tim, how do you feel in reflection? What's your sort of, I don't know, what comes to your brain when you think about the last 4 to 7 weeks that we've been doing?
It's certainly been a much bigger undertaking than I anticipated. When we had a chat over the phone, I thought we'll put a few posts out and we'll raise a few quid and that'll be that. But it's been a lot more time consuming than I first thought. But with the help of you guys and then the rest of the team in Redmond and Hoxo and Simply Commerce, between us, we've managed to put it together and put the supply chain in place and get the laptops out. Just all the little things you didn't think about, like how who's going to contact the schools, make sure that they're getting the right number of laptops, and we can apportion the laptops accordingly based on the total amount we've got and the money coming in, how we're going to get it out. There's just so much more that I didn't think about that we found out along the way.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to the conversations that we had only a few weeks ago that kind of feels like years ago as well as yesterday with those teachers. You know, some of the stories and anecdotes that they were sharing with us at the time were tearjerkers, to be honest. I mean, you know, the headmistress that we spoke to that time that you introduced to the call, Tim, you know, and some of the stories about the way that kids were suffering from not being able to socialize, educate. You know, their parents were not in a position to be able to not just buy laptops, but even when they brought them to them, set the laptops up. You know, I just can't believe we're at the end of February. We've been kicking the hell out of this for the last 4 weeks, and we've managed to achieve what we have. And when I think of those people now, I just think it's just fantastic that actually, you know, we spoke to them, we told them about what we're going to do, and we delivered on it as well.
Yeah. You know what I looked at yesterday? I was looking at some stats, and there's about 8.5 million kids in education up to 18. So approximately 20% have had no access to laptops. That's an incredible, as a percentage of the total number of kids in school. It's just incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It really is. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the people that have actually, you know, made the difference here. The people that have actually donated. So I'm just going to run through some. Obviously, there's a lot of people. We've had 149 backers. All right, which is just insane. And I can't name everyone. And there's quite a lot of people that have anonymously backed us, but. Some names that stick out was, you know, Leo Harrison, Chapter 2. When we did that first initial live show, he just said, "Look, I'm putting £1,000 in." Got the ball rolling, which was amazing. Then we had the likes of Lloyd Gordon at Focus Cloud, who gave £750. We had Darren Ravel, who put in £1,000 from Recruiter Web, and then he gave another £500. Later on, we've had the guys at Alexander Lloyd who've donated twice. They took a percentage of their billings in both January and February, and have given us a percentage of that, which is amazing. We had, I mean, I'm sorry if I miss anyone out here, but there's literally like Lauren Hopkins, Grace Personnel, very, very small recruitment company. And there's only like 3 people and giving us £1,000, which is just insane, really, isn't it? And you just think, what? And then we had people like I think it's your brother Chris, giving us from Rakiva, giving us 1,000.
Yeah.
Wendy Gannon, 500. I mean, these are not huge companies. These are people that are, you know, they're finding money that they could do other things with to get on board, and I just think it's incredible. And then there was others like Joe Curtis from 3Search giving us £3,000, and then Vincere giving us £1,500 in 2 installments, and I mean, the big one, Callum Taylor and Jack from CLM Search on the 2nd of February donated £10,000. I mean, just take a minute to think about £10,000. I mean, these guys, I work with them, they're clients. Callum's a personal friend. I've known him for a few years through family, and you know, they only started their recruitment company in lockdown. They started in March. They were let go of a previous company that went under. Started in a fucking pandemic. Did $1 million in revenue in year 1 between 3 of them, and then decided they were going to give 10,000 to charity anyway. And then when they heard about our initiative, literally on that first Friday, called me that night and was like, "I'm going to give you 10 grand." I just could not believe it. It was like, so that, you know, quarter of our revenue of our fundraising activities have come from that one business. So, you know, I can't thank them enough.
Yeah, likewise. Sean, I think the other shout out that I'd like to make is to Dave Heron, the CEO at Wilton and Bain, and the guys over there. Not only did the board as an organisation donate, I think it was £2,000, but actually what Dave rallied the troops to do in terms of the consultants was all donate individually across the course of one Friday. I think it was our first Friday. Yeah. And I think they raised over £700 individually to contribute. So
amazing.
You know, I did a 120-second podcast yesterday with Callum Hull from AI Recruiter, and they asked me to answer 2 questions. And he gave me a list of 15 to choose from, and one of them was, you know, what's a myth that you would like to debunk? And my response to that was, you know, the reputation that the recruitment industry and recruiters had. And I spoke about this initiative in Callum's podcast and just said, if putting your money where your mouth is one way of determining who people are in terms of their value set, I definitely feel as though every single person that's participated in what we've done here has made a statement about who they are and who we are as a sector as well, which I just think is, you know, part of the residual benefit of what we've done here over the course of February.
Yeah, insane. What Have either of you got the detail of the different schools we've worked with and the amount of children and the detail around the project? Chris, have you got that?
I haven't got that to hand. I mean, I did some rough analysis on it earlier, and we need to get that from Holly. But what I suggest we do probably, Sean, is publish something to everybody, so that we can give at least a summary of where we are. And I think you were saying earlier, lads, that we're going to let this roll so that people that want to give or that think of, they want to do something over the next few weeks, they can still do that. I mean, obviously, when kids return to school on the 8th, I think it's going to lift some of the emphasis that we started this to address. But like you just said, Tim, when you stare down the barrel of, 8 million students in the UK and 20% of them don't have a laptop, there's still a massive validity to what we've started here, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And again, the point I raised last week about it only takes one positive test within one of the bubbles at one of these schools, and then you've got 40, 60, 80, 100 people back working from home. So the problem is not going to go away.
No,
it might be resolved in the very short term from the 8th of March, but it's inevitable there's going to be positive tests.
Yeah,
and the same problem will occur.
Yeah, for sure. I think the good news is, look, I think I put a post up on Monday, Tuesday. And it was a video that I personally recorded on the 13th of March last year.
I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I recorded that. I'll be honest, I'd had a few beers in the afternoon, like just watching fucking Donald Trump go tell the world we're screwed. I had a few Guinnesses and I was on my own. And I remember making that video. I was planning on posting it. And then the next day I was like, do I come across drunk? Like, I don't know if I've just looked like an idiot. And I didn't know what was going to happen. So I parked it. And I've always had that video on my phone. I've always looked back at it. And I posted it, and it just shows where we've come as a, if you look at the pandemic, I felt like after Monday, that was the best feeling, the furthest away from that moment back 12 months ago that we've been. Now, we don't know what's ahead. There could be way more challenges. Like you say, Tim, there's going to be loads of ups and downs, but I'm confident we're on the right track. I'm confident the light is at the end of the tunnel. But I still don't think that means we'll ever go back to the way it was. I think there'll always be even school like that. Schools and people in general are gonna, the digital economy is here. The digital nomad economy is here. So getting technology into the hands of children is not a short-term issue. And just think about the disparity for kids that grow up without technology and the ones that do, in terms of the jobs they will get, the skills they'll have.
Massively.
They're just so much more they're just going to be so much more ready for work, ready to earn money, ready to get on in life than those that have not had access to tech. When we were younger, I mean, I didn't have a laptop till I was 21, didn't have a computer growing up, but it wasn't a big thing. It was not a problem. Whereas now, a family without devices, I think they're seriously going to hold their children's opportunities back. What do you think of that?
I think, I will address this, but broader picture, I think that this pandemic, and I feel like you're right, Sean, I hope we're on the right path now, and my heart tells me that we are, but I feel like the pandemic's brought out a lot of the best in the recruitment sector. We've risen to the challenge. People have sharpened their blade when it comes to productizing and weaponizing their proposition. I feel like it's helped us lose the undercurrent of paranoia that was so prevalent from business owners across their businesses when they had to let their people work from home and judge them on their output, not just what time they got to their desk and what time they left their desk. But I think that when it comes to this initiative and, going forward in terms of the kids that will benefit from the laptops that we've made sure they've got in front of them, we'll never know what that value is in terms of the way it plays out. But I would almost guarantee that there's going to be a kid out there somewhere who will be thinking, I don't quite know how this laptop ended up arriving at my house. Maybe we don't have much, or I never had a device before. I certainly don't have a Nintendo or whatever. And then all of a sudden I got a laptop, but thank God I got it. That's where I learned to do this and I learned to do that. And I could chat to my mates, and they're the things that we'll never know. But that's where the rubber hits the road for me on the difference that we'll have made to hundreds of kids' lives.
Yeah. It's impacting the social mobility as well, because those kids who've already got laptops and their parents have got money and they've got access to the things they need, they've already got an advantage, and that advantage will get bigger as they move through school and they go into roles where you have to have that digital awareness or understanding of tech. And so by providing laptops for the kids that don't have it, we're hopefully helping to make that social mobility gap between those who have and those who don't smaller.
Do you know, one of the things that it also brought home to me, guys, is that, you know, whenever you talk about polarization and rich and poor type topics, and people who have and people who have not got access to things, you kind of don't really feel the proximity of how close you potentially are to that being the case. And one of the things that this has taught me is that you've got that polarization in every single school. You know, it's there on our doorstep, literally. And, you know, we're not talking about particularly impoverished part of the country. Of course we are. But you've got the kids at that end of the spectrum in every single school who just don't, for whatever reason, have a laptop, and they need it just as much as anyone else does. So I think it's awesome that it's been right on our doorstep, and we've helped kids up and down the country that are literally just out there. You know, I think it's awesome.
Agreed. All right. What's your one highlight memory of the whole thing? What's the one thing that stands out? Chris, you kick us off. What's your one highlight?
I think the first week, you know, the actually doing this and seeing you guys, and then when you push the button on the podcast, Sean, and you go live, and you get that feeling, you know, it's in your gut. We're doing this. The gun's just gone off. It's happening. And that was the compliment, really, to the emotion that I had when I called you up and said, Sean, we've got to do something about this, mate. We can't just be spectators to what's happening in our own backyard. You know, when we pulled it all together and, you know, the operational stuff, and you guys did such a good job of the marketing. And Tim, I've got to say, for me, Holly in your team has been the absolute superstar of this behind the scenes. She actually is what has made this happen. Now, we've been the face of it and all that. And, you know, Nick and the guys at Keyzone and Mohit in my team, and Gurney is fantastic in Hoxo. But Holly's the person that's made it all happen on a day-to-day basis. So I don't think we should wrap this up without saying thanks to the whole team. But Holly's the MVP for me.
Oh, yeah, wow. 100%. She's been a bit of a legend when it comes to pulling this all together, and it takes a lot more than any of us anticipated to keep things moving. But highlights for me, to answer your question, Sean, there are two. The first one is getting myself locked out of my own office about 10 before our first LinkedIn Live. That was a highlight. But the highlight for me was when we first received the email from the first school. Yeah, see the laptops, just the email, the letter, and the pictures, just thanking us for sending them the laptops. Yeah. And there's one of the kids had put a little bit about how they felt and what that's going to do for them, and they don't like the writing, the handwriting's no good. Just that was the point where you realised the difference that you were making from the fundraising and then the getting the laptops out to the schools. That was probably the best bit for me.
I've got a couple. I love that. I love what you said there. My funny one was when I texted my lads group, my WhatsApp group, to the boys in London, and I wrote, like, lads, please get on board. I mean, they're all doing pretty well at work. They've got good jobs. They can help. And then my best mate wrote, you know, is that it? You're not even like running or doing a marathon or biking or anything. He's like, you just want us to pay, and that is it. I was like, just fuck off and read it, will you? And then he donated that day, but I thought that was quite funny. He's like, you're not even running. You're not even doing anything. I was like, yeah, it's a good point. No, we're just going to shout about it every day. Yeah. And then obviously when I announced it internally at Hoxo, and I just said, look, I'm not. Like, we were that busy. I was like, this is not going to happen Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Like, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it in our spare time. Like, you know, I'm the only person that's doing this in business hours. Gurney, the team, the designers, developer, all the people behind the scenes. And every single member of staff just messaged me independently going, whatever you need. Like, and that, I thought that was brilliant, because we've asked a lot, you know, of people to do there, and they, you know, they've loved it. But the main highlight for me was the fact that you two chose me to talk to independently of each other within 24 hours. It wasn't even like there was a big gap. It was literally Tim in the evening, Chris in the morning. And that's one, thanks for giving me the shout, because I wasn't coming up with this idea. And crazy timing. Like, it's just weird, that, don't you think? Like, to think You both had the same exact idea. Not even like similar. It was like schools, kids, laptops, bang. And Tim, you were talking about a tech supplier. You already had one, Chris. It was just a really good fit. So I just want to say thanks to you both.
Mate, there's a reason why we both called you. You know, I think you've earned a spot in the sector at the moment as the figurehead for a lot of people. You can tell that when you post anything on LinkedIn, mate. I can't keep track of the number of likes and shares that you generate. But in fact, I want to talk to you about engagement rates after this, because I want to get your take on Redholt and how we're doing at the moment. But one of the things that I'm going to miss particularly is Timothy Roedel's villain chair. I think we need to get a white cat. So that
he should have he should have a cat, like a hairless cat on his lap.
It's definitely got a bit of James Bond villain going on with that chair.
Yeah, for sure. But thanks to you two. Thanks to everyone who's donated. Sorry I couldn't name everyone. I mean, there was loads. Even like Amelia Sordell, obviously, a competitor of mine, effectively, someone who says the same things. We come up against each other a lot, I think, for business, but she was amazing at getting on board, and she's got a huge following, and you know, we raised a fair few £1,000s off the back of that. Everyone who's donated, everyone who's given us a pound or more, thank you. It's been a pleasure to do this, and you know, we wouldn't happen without you guys. I think it's fair to say this is not over, but for now we're gonna leave it open. But we're not gonna keep pushing the bandwagon in March. We're gonna try and get back to normality as the country gets back to normality, and we're gonna see how things go. And if we need to restart this again and push it again, we will. And perhaps we'll have Project 500 will come out in a new initiative in the future with a different challenge or whatever's presented. The one thing I'm confident of is if we have an idea, the recruitment industry will help. That's what I'm excited about.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing all of your not only your money but your time on LinkedIn. The amount of people who've posted like I've donated, I'm backing this. If you do want to know any more about what we've done, you got any questions about where your money's gone, please let us know directly at Project 500. Is it Project 500 at redholt.net? Yeah. We will be publishing a report based on exactly which schools, children, all the rest of it that got laptops. And we will see you again soon. I'll be back again Wednesday with the normal resuming of normal behavior within the RAG podcast. In the meantime, you stay safe, and I'll see you soon.